Hey guys, this is Dion here with your Guitar Academy. So in this lesson, I want to expand on this idea of our 16th note strumming in the style of Cory Wong by introducing another strum on a different 16th note as to what we saw in lesson number 1. So grab your guitar and let's get going. If you just joined us, please don't forget to head over to the website where you can get all of the additional course materials, including the handbook, any tabs, any backing tracks and chord diagrams as well. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave us a comment as well. It really helps us out to hear how you've been getting on with the courses, and any questions you have, we will definitely get back to you. So if you remembered in lesson 1, we had something that sounded like this. So we were hitting our E9 chord right on beat number 1. And the rest of our strums were just these muted or ghost notes, whatever you want to call them. Sounded like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we're going to be doing in this lesson is going to expand on this idea, and we're going to introduce another strum on the E9 chord, but on a different 16th note. So this gives me an opportunity to talk about, how, the rhythmic grid is entirely set. It's a mathematical thing. It's not this kind of ambiguous thing where the beats are falling at random times. Like if you picture 4 beats, 4 kind of blocks, and within each one of those blocks you have 4 little squares as well. That's how we can visualize this sort of strumming pattern. So far we filled in the very, very first block on beat 1, which is number 1. The rest are muted. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to introduce on the beat of 1, E and A. So the very last 16th note of beat 1, we're going to introduce an upstroke on the E9. And it sounds like this. 1, in fact, I'll do it with the drums. Again, very important. Go a little bit slower, obviously don't want to dive straight in at 120. 60 BPM is good. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I count out loud, 1, E and A, 3, 4. 1, E and A, 2, 3, 4. 1. So you can hear now it's starting to sound a bit more like, okay, this is sounding a bit more like a piece of music, right? So, and all we've done is just added in an additional strum. Okay, so the best way to approach this is, again, be mindful of that metronome and be mindful of that count and try and count it out loud. So just looking at that first beat, it would sound like this. So 1, E and A. Okay, so you see I'm applying the pressure, as we saw in lesson 1, on beat 1, and then the next 2, muting, and then the final one of that group, that first beat, I'm applying the pressure again to get that chord. Okay, so 1, and 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4. So that's a great thing to try at first. Just visualize it in your head, count it out, see it on the guitar, see it in your head, and just try and play it nice and slow like that. Okay, so this also now gives me an opportunity to talk about the kind of difficulties and kind of trials and tribulations of playing with a rhythmic reference at first, so a drum beat or a metronome. So if you're not used to doing it, it can be really tricky to try and focus on both things at once. So both listening to the metronome and to the guitar. So I want you to imagine it as the metronome is nurturing what I call our internal metronome. So our internal metronome is our ability to maintain a pulse or maintain a kind of rhythmic foundation without focusing too much on it. And it just takes a bit of practice. So for instance, when I play along for something like this, or I play on my own, you know, inside my head or inside my body, I've just got this subconscious understanding of where the beat is and where I'm playing. And that, as I say, it just comes with practice, and it comes with experience. So at first you want to try and, I know it's really difficult because you want to listen to your guitar and you want to listen to what you're playing, but try not to let the guitar drown out the metronome, and vice versa. You really want to be focusing on that metronome, but just trying to sort of hear it. And that's why I think it's helpful to sometimes count with it, or tap your foot, or move your body in some way with the metronome, because you're associating it and you're bringing it within. That sounds really strange, but hopefully you understand what I mean. So this sounds with the drums at 60. We have this. So remember, we're hitting on beat 1 and then 1 E and up. Okay, so B, 4, 1, 3, 4. See, I'm making it nice and staccato. If it's not staccato, doesn't sound quite right. Want it really staccato, so it really grooves. Okay, and that's another point. So I always imagine this style of guitar as almost more like a percussion instrument than a melodic instrument, because it's really supporting the kind of rhythmic side of everything. And obviously that's the benefit of the guitar, is that it's so many different things at once. It's such an expressive kind of thing. It can be, you know, it can complement the drums, whereas it can also be its own melodic instrument. You know, in this case, we're obviously very, very much heavily talking about rhythm guitar. So yeah, just really, you know, take your time to try and meld the two together, meld the metronome and the guitar together. And there's a really strange thing that sometimes happens when you're really in time, and it's that if you're playing with a metronome, you almost can't hear it anymore because you're so locked in with it, which is such a strange thing. But that's a good thing, because like it means you're not playing slightly ahead or behind it, you're right on top of it. So yeah, and to talk about playing ahead or behind, that, you know, it's sometimes a good thing to play behind the beat because it gives a bit more of a laid back feel. It's not as, you know, common or as considered a good thing to play in front of the beat because it sounds like you're rushing. But also playing bang on top of the beat. Let me see if I can demonstrate what I mean by that. So I'll use this same pattern from this lesson number 2, and I'll play, so I'll try right on top for now. 3, 4. Now, if I rush it, if I play before the beat, you'll hear it starts to fall apart a bit. It's just got a certain sense of being a bit eager, and things don't sound as good when you play before the beat. It can sound kind of cool if you play it a bit laid back, so like, kind of hard actually at a slow tempo. That was really laid back, you know, sometimes it can go a bit far. But the point is, you know, you can imagine you have your beat here. You can either play bang on top of it. If you're before it, it sounds a bit eager. If you're after it, it can sound cool in certain instances. But in this case, we want to be bang on top of it, get those metronomic 16th notes and get them as tight as we possibly can with our metronome or drum beat. So again, as this is just an expansion of lesson 1, you want to take your time with this. Start at a slow tempo. Around about 60 is a great point to start on, but I'll let you be the judge. You know, the thing is, you have to be honest with yourself with this sort of thing and make sure that you're always in time. If it gets fast and you can feel yourself going out of time, pull it back a bit. And just, you know, small baby steps whilst retaining that pulse and that groove and the relaxed picking hand as well. Remember, we're talking about that a lot in this unit. It's all about maintaining that loose wrist, relaxed picking hand, and just, yeah, as always, just take it nice and slow and then incrementally increase as you go. So that is our, beat number 1 strum and beat number 1 E strum. So I'll see you in the next lesson where we're going to add another strum. That's it for this lesson. If you want to go on to the next lesson, you can click here. And if you want to go back to the beginning of the course, you can click here. Also, please don't forget to leave us a comment. Let us know how you've been getting on with the course so far. And if you have any questions about anything, we'll answer it and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.